Well, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good
Hi.
afternoon, Dawn.
Good to see you guys. All right, so we all know each other, and we're here today to get to see some of Teepa Snow training, some of the positive approach training that I've been taking. I know some of you have had the opportunity to see whether it's some of the YouTube videos that Teepa has put out or to be at some of her seminars. I know you've been at some of my trainings. So I know you're no stranger to dementia, to aging, and some of the trials and challenges that we face with dementia. So Teepa Snow has a really good understanding of some of these challenges and helps us as caregivers, care partners, to work with our family, our residents, our friends who have some of these symptoms and challenges. And so I want us to go ahead and do this look at these videos. In between some of the snippets, we'll have an opportunity to stop and talk and share some ideas and share some of our experiences and what we're hearing and understanding. Some of the objectives that we're going to have from today's seminar is we're going to be able to differentiate between normal aging and not normal aging. Unfortunately, for some of us who are aging, there are some symptoms that are still going to fall under normal aging, okay? But then there are some that are not normal, and we'd like to be able to differentiate those, and so we will be going into that. We're going to talk about the 5 different senses and how we take information in and use it, and how that relates to the normal aging versus the not normal aging. So hopefully by the end of the 2 hours, we'll be able to differentiate some of those and explain some of those. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and we're going to start with Teepa Snow, and after about 4 minutes or so, we'll have a little bit of a conversation. Okay, so has anything like this ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or to anyone you know?
Yes.
Anyone in this room in particular?
Not at all.
Maybe. So think to yourself, why do you think it happens when it does happen to you?
I think that there are other elements that could be, not just maybe your age, maybe you're feeling stressful that day, or maybe you didn't get a lot of sleep. But I think when we forget, we have that social stigma of, I'm losing it, or I'm crazy, or I'm old, or whatever,
Okay.
But I don't think that that's it.
Okay, so you said maybe you're having a stressful moment or day, maybe you didn't have enough sleep. Anything else that you can think of?
My brain is keeping track of so many details that the little unimportant ones
Absolutely, absolutely. So did you notice though when she starts that and you do get a little, and you feel that little bit of stress, maybe that little bit of panic of, oh, I do that, I do that. And that's cortisol. Okay, so cortisol is a hormone that'll kind of dump into your brain, and it raises a little bit of panic, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of negativity in your life, in your brain. And so that's what's happening. So when you feel that boost of cortisol, take a breath, do that with me. Take a breath. Okay. All right, so breathing slowly and deeply can help us get rid of that. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and go back.
Way of collecting data. They want to see something first. It allows them to see it, and then they can start to think about what they want to do next. But what you see is the most powerful sensory input that you're going to get in your brain.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have you partner up and stand up. And Alex, why don't you come up with me? You can be my partner. So decide between you guys who's going to have your eyes closed and who's going to be who's the toucher and who's the touchy. All right, so one of you have your eyes closed and one of them will be copying me. Yeah, Alex, you get to close your eyes. Okay, all right, so those of you who are following me, Do what I'm doing. Okay, all right, stop. How did that feel? Those of you who had your eyes closed.
It's awkward even when you're expecting it.
Right, and you were expecting it.
Yes.
Okay. So,
It made me angry.
I felt okay.
you felt okay. You felt okay, it
He's
didn't
like,
bother
"More."
you. You felt angry.
I felt angry.
What made you feel angry about it?
I think maybe the control and not being able to, with my eyes open, I would be able to see where he was moving next. But because I didn't have that,
Okay. Okay. So control.
yeah.
Yeah, just not, I'm jumpy because I'm like, I don't know where you're going next. I don't know exactly what your purpose is.
Okay, that's very, very good. So let's go ahead and swap. No. No, go
I
ahead.
thought you
know
were going to
what?
swap partners.
We're going to swap. We're going to go ahead and the other people are going to do it. You know what, Alex? Go ahead. You
All
lead
right.
them. You lead them. I will close my eyes.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, time is up. All right, those of you this time, how did that make you feel?
I felt more awkward this time
Okay, because you were what? Why?
because I was the one providing the care and you didn't really know what I was doing at all. So
Okay, so
I was
you felt more
concerned
awkward,
about how he was feeling.
and you were concerned with how he was feeling.
I could tell from her facial expressions that
Oh,
this
yeah.
was not an enjoyable thing.
No.
Right. Okay. All right. So, and we were expecting.
And
it.
all of us were expecting it and knew what was happening.
Yeah. Okay. So, what did you find yourself wanting to do as they were touching you?
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes. So visual. Remember.
Pull them
Speak.
away.
What? Speak and say what?
Stop.
Stop. Stop.
Or like she said, you'd stop with the sensory thing. Like I'd push him away. Or
Okay.
kick,
Or push them
something.
away, or kick,
Because I was feeling angry.
or something, or punch. Oh, okay. A lot of
Finally grew.
A lot of hostility in this group. Okay, so let's think about this, and I'll let you sit down in just a second. So, if you had dementia, now none of us have dementia here. We knew what to expect, and we had these reactions when somebody was touching us without us knowing what they were doing or where they were going next, or like you said, lack of control. If you had dementia, do you think that would change the experience any?
Just intensify it.
Yeah. Because it never stops. It's my life 24/7.
Okay,
So I think
intensify it.
Yeah, there's something to be said, like if I'm caregiving for someone, like for a lot of these caregivers, they're either spouses or children, but in this type of thing, that's our job, right? So we clock out at some time, but they don't. So it's like we have to know we're coming into their life and caring for them in a way that they need. So,
Right, and that's so important and so true to remember. So,
Well, and so I didn't know what was happening next, but my brain can process, okay, this, she's gonna go somewhere around here because we were there, she's acting like
Yeah.
she's caregiving. My brain couldn't process that. It'd be way more confusing and way more scary.
right, okay. So, taking this information now, just this one experience, is there something you would do differently as a care partner in helping give cares to a resident or a family member? And what would that be? Ideas.
Less touching and more visual explaining prior to.
Whichever
Yeah,
sense
what
is
they're doing.
strongest for that person, like try to make it clear, communicate first.
Visual and verbal cue first.
So, excellent. Visual and verbal cue first. What we didn't do here that she had said on the video before, let's think about it, is visual and verbal before we start
Yeah.
touching, right? And so I think that's important. That's great. And if we can take that back to our residents, how fantastic is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
oh my gosh, I just like I started talking without any
It's
emotion.
okay.
Like I kind of see like the most vulnerable I've ever felt, because I mean I've had surgeries or been, you know, we all have that experience in a hospital or something. But if I were to like, it's bathing time, I would approach them from the front, have a towel in my hand or show them, you know, the things, and then, you know, I'm not just gonna wheel them in and start, you know, approaching from the side or whatever, because they don't know what's going on.
Right, so very much a visual of a visual explanation, something that makes a resident or a family member understand what it is you're trying to do before you start doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. Okay, let's go ahead and go on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dawn.
Okay, so how many of you think that feels different?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Doing it, touching yourself in that manner feels different. Okay. That's all I wanted to do. Let's go on again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get with your partner. Alex, you can come up and be my partner. And we're going to go ahead and try this. Okay, so we're going to shake hands. Turn it into the bird or the butterfly, right? Skill fingers down, or sorry, strength fingers down, and that leaves your skill fingers, right? All right. So one of you is the support. Sorry, I should have had you choose in advance. So choose who's the person with dementia and who is the person without dementia.
I'll be dementia.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and be the person with dementia? All right, so we're going to go ahead.
Okay.
Now, and I'm in a really bad spot with you, I'm sorry. Okay, so I would try and be over here a little bit more, okay? All right, so that leaves us, like I have here with Alex, I'm supporting. I'm here, I can touch that part of the hand that gives support and good sensory, and still have my fingers to work with if I need to help him out with something here. So go ahead and see how that works. All right.
It also
Okay.
seems easier for them to tell you no. Because like that's
Uh-huh.
the strength grip for them. So if I'm going to fix
Better
something
than
or
less.
something that's spilled,
And if they can tell you no, what is that giving back to them?
control.
Control, just like we talked about before, huh? How important do you think that is? Is it important to you?
Yeah.
So,
Huge. You talked about the vulnerability. It just gives them a little bit less
Yeah.
vulnerability.
I feel very secure right now. Very supported.
Good.
Thank you, Dawn.
Good. All right, thank you. Okay, so go ahead and gather with your partner again, and go ahead and get in the butterfly, the hand under hand. Okay, and decide again which one of you has dementia. Okay. How about, yeah. Okay. And what we're trying to do this time is we're showing the I hand. So go ahead and the person with dementia, look away. Okay. The other one, go ahead and make that hand contact. Make that hand contact. Pump that hand. Does the other person look at you? Not really. You guys are not helping me out here. Yeah, they're supposed to. It's kind of the eye hand thing.
I definitely felt a difference when
to
you're.
look
We were
away.
told to look away.
Yeah, look. Okay. All right. That's so.
I
So
did
I'll
have the
rephrase
urge.
it. Go ahead and look away to start, and then let's pump that hand right where the support is.
What I feel like doing first is looking at where I'm feeling it and then looking at where it's
That's
coming
okay. No, that's okay. Did you know, you're looking at, again, we're going back to visual.
from. Yeah.
You felt something,
Look
so you
where
want
it
to see
was.
where it is.
Yeah.
And that's fine, so you can look at it right here. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Thanks.
Sometimes better. All right, so let's go ahead and partner up. And why don't you go ahead and stand next to your partner this time. just let's go ahead and do what we saw there. Let's feel the difference between touching with somebody and touching to or touching somebody. So again, we're going to go ahead and get in our hand under hand. I've got my skill fingers here. Go ahead and do that with your partner, and maybe like Tipa did, let's see if we can get them to maybe understand that they need their hair smoothed or some crumbs on their face or something that you've seen in your work. Okay, how does that feel to the person who's being touched?
A lot better than
Totally
being
different.
blind and like
Right,
that.
okay, all right, so it feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
Did you understand what they were trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more. So you said that visual cue and then the support. Did you feel like you were doing it a little bit, or did you feel like it was just being done to you?
Felt like I was doing a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I was being coached.
Okay.
You know,
I was
had some help.
involved.
I had some help.
You were involved in it, okay.
Maybe kind of an odd thought, but it felt like dancing in a way, like a lead follow. And
Okay,
I'm in like the shadow position as opposed to like I feel like I don't know if the visuals here, it's something that's gonna be almost like both of us, not her to me or him to me, whoever's doing it.
okay. So curious, because you bring up dance and you say in
Yeah.
a shadow position. Is there any other word for that?
Just side by side or shadow position.
Side by
It's like
side,
when you're
shadow,
literally next to
support?
someone.
Could
Yeah.
I go so far as to say the
Yes.
support
Yeah.
position?
Yeah.
Okay, which surprisingly is exactly what that's called, so thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you ever noticed before, we've been talking about a bunch of different things, have you ever noticed, so like eye contact being drawn to where your hand is going? Did we notice that at all? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Any other thoughts from this exercise? Is there anything that you thought of that you would do differently now with your resident or your family member?
Just remembering that this audio visual first before anything else, because then it creates an order and a good routine for you and for whoever you're approaching.
Okay. that's
I
good.
felt as the person with dementia, I didn't know exactly what was happening. Like there, and she was gesturing towards my shirt. I wasn't sure if she was gonna brush something off or I think she ended up fixing my collar.
Mhm.
But the communication that was there was like, there's a level of trust that I had. Whereas if she just does it for me, it's not necessarily there.
I mean, yeah, have you ever just even been, at work or in a store and somebody you know comes up and reaches into your space there? What do? Tell me you're gonna do something or, let me know that. So again, I think that's just what we're doing there. So, and it takes a lot of practice. So that is a skill that we will practice. It's not necessarily natural.
I also felt like I could communicate back to you more with our hands connected like that, so I could let you know what was too much, or when we can keep going,
Mhm.
or if I didn't understand. So.
Yeah, because you did push back a few times,
Mhm.
like, I'm not quite ready to have you
Yeah.
do that yet. So, all right, that's great. Thank you guys very much. Have you ever noticed that people in later stage dementia have a harder time understanding what we're saying to them and taking direction from us, so to speak? And have you ever thought about why?
I think just generally everyone will kind of just assume, oh, their condition's worse, but not more than that. Oh, okay, they're going to be harder to work with because it's more advanced, or they're,
Right.
yeah. And I feel like it kind of stops there. It's like we all know it's hard. We all know that there's more to it, but less for them. So it's just hard to.
So, I want you guys just to talk amongst yourselves for a couple of minutes rather than with me. And just, how has this activity helped you process what your expectations would be of a resident or a family member with dementia, and how you would respond to them?
I feel like in my community, like when it's time to have a meal, you know, I feel like there's some residences that are a little bit more difficult, or they're getting progressively worse. I think with this kind of practice, it'll help not only myself but other caregivers that are there during that activity to be able to really stick to these two first. Because I feel like, you know, the sensation of eating and all that stuff, I think it's still there. Like all the daily tasks that they need to do, I think are somewhat satisfying to them. And so if I do that as I'm approaching a specific resident, while she's eating, her name is Norma, and she's at my residence. Like she's with my residents that are, you know, got, you know, assisted living and independent living. Within the assisted living, like you're saying, like she's saying, we've got different levels. I hate to word it that way, but you know.
No, of course.
Yeah, and so when I'm approaching Norma, I approach her in the shadow position, you know, and I, you know, signal to my mouth and I show her the fork, or maybe I could even like mimic like I'm eating as well, so she can recognize that that's what's happening. And then with the control, help her eat. I feel like for her that would help her transition to that activity.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, using visual,
Mm.
getting her attention to show her what you want her to do, and then to use the hand under hand method for you to actually help give her control so she can eat
Yeah.
if she needs it.
Yeah, I feel
Is
like
what
also
you're saying.
for
That's
her,
what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
and for her personality, I think with that support here, seeing the cues and then seeing that everyone else is doing that as well will really help her. Because she was more
great.
social before, you know, her condition got worse.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any other scenario where this type of approach might help you in something that you've been dealing with, a challenge maybe?
Well, I can see with almost any situation once you're running into issues and you're trying to explain something or trying to demonstrate something. I like just recognizing that there are multiple ways to communicate that information. I think it's really easy to get stuck on, you know, saying, "Hey, Norma."
Okay.
I'll stick with that name. That's
Sure.
You know, "Hey, Norma, like, we're going to lunch. We're going to lunch, Norma. We're going, you know," and she isn't understanding. But if I can use visual cues, use touch and feel, like maybe. I'm sure the touch and feel and even the visual ones gradually over time are being weakened, but by using and trying to recruit all of those, she'll get some sort of level of communication understanding across, so at least we're just like, oh, okay,
Right. Okay.
I'm on board.
So if you don't use any words,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm using your suggestion there. What does this mean? How many of us know that as eating?
Yeah.
I mean, we just do. We use it with babies.
Mm-hmm.
We use it with
Or just general, like
in general.
for
If I'm on the
eating.
phone and trying to tell somebody
Yeah.
I'm hungry, that's a kind of universal. So maybe that's something that we can use. That's great. Those are some good ideas. Did you have something?
Yeah, and it just allows them to be part of it, because I know it can be frustrating feeling like, I'm not a baby, I should be able to do this, and it shouldn't be you just taking care of me, because, it's satisfying to be able to, be independent in some sort of way. So if you can show them what we're doing, and they can kind of understand, and they can help you do it, there's at least that sort of gratification of I'm helping, and it's me doing this, not just being taken care of.
Okay, and you know what? You just kind of hit on one of my triggers. These are adults.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our residents and our family with dementia are adults. They have earned the right to make as many decisions for themselves as they can. They have earned the right to have the respect that we can give them as much as we can. And yes, we need to help them. Yes, we need to give them assistance, but we need to do it in a manner that gives them as much control over their life as possible. So, good point. You hit on one of my triggers. And yeah, and this is a great method for doing that. Great approach for it. So, thank you. So real quickly, we're going to go back to our scenario, and I want you to do the actions with Tifa. Again, actions help us remember, right? Helps us put that in our brain. So we're going to go ahead and do the actions with her as she does it.
So real quickly, we're going to go back to our scenario. Because what I want you to realize, human beings, when they decide to go do something, what happened is I was sitting here and I got a call to my appetite. I'm thirsty. Core. Well, now the core of my brain is in the center part of my brain. Do this.
All right. So have you ever had an interaction with a child that seemed unsafe? Or that was unsafe?
Child seemed unsafe.
Right, where the child was doing something, where the child was choosing to do something that was unsafe. What might that have been?
Trying to climb on something that they shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this safety and awareness maybe wasn't quite there yet that we were talking about, and so they were trying to do something.
Touch or do something.
Okay. And so what did you do in that instance?
Pick them up, probably.
So if you just grabbed the child,
They didn't learn anything or anything, but yeah.
did they scream? Did they reach out? Did they kick out? Maybe?
Tantrum.
Tantrum. Okay. I'm just kind of likening it again. Not that our residents are children, but that kind
still.
of same scenario. And yet, did we have to do something to make sure that they were safe? Right. Okay. So thinking about people with dementia, who live with dementia, if they're in a scenario where they're unsafe, maybe they're trying to climb something. Okay. Given those things that we've learned today, what might be a good process, a good way to handle getting them to stop that?
And right now, I'm just keep going back and thinking back to the hand, holding on to shake their hand, I guess it would be. Keep thinking like it's a claw, but it's not. And so establish that visual and was it motor sensory or
Sure.
and so that they see that you're not just like yanking them, it's you're almost diverting their attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, that's excellent. Good job. All right, so is there something that you guys have thought of so far today that you can change in your routine with your residents or your family member that will help your relationship with them, will help them get the care and the assistance they require, and yet help keep the relationship more better. Be one where they have more control and more say.
Explain and involve versus just doing for them.
Okay. Okay. So explain and involve. How would we involve?
That's the hand
Okay.
thing. Make sure you take them with you on the journey, not just
Ooh,
Come
I
in like a
like that.
bulldozer.
Take them with you on the journey. Don't just bulldoze them. Good.
I really like the being by their side instead of head on.
It's called the supportive stance. So you
Yeah,
like being
a
the supportive stance.
especially as she would by then, and she was talking about the limbic system and the autonomic, like having someone right there. I want to like no get out of my face, like go away. I want my respect.
You're right
respect
there.
my space here. Okay, this is my bubble. Especially right here. And so having someone or me being by the side of the resident, I think it will be less threatening
less aggressive.
toward them.
Less aggressive, less threatening. Good. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take a break now, and then we don't have a downstairs. We are already downstairs, so we won't go downstairs to meet Teepa, but we will come back after just a couple of minutes and we'll bring her back with us.